Hello lovelies, and welcome back to Squeaky's Cauldron, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm your host, Sarah Evergreen. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to come hang out with me in my weird witchy corner of the internet. Today we're going to be talking about meditation, what it is, what isn't, and why I think it's so important. Before we get into that, if you are enjoying these videos, please like, comment, subscribe, share them with your friends, share them with your enemies, share them with whoever you think might get a kick out of them. And if you are interested in working with me one-on-one, please check out the link in the description or head over to squeakyscauldron.com/coaching for more information about my coaching offerings. Now, without further ado, on to the show. So there's this idea that meditation is sitting quietly and trying to find a blank mind. Clear yourself of all thoughts and just sit in bliss and contentment. And while there's definitely a very real, important place for seated silent meditation, it's far from the only way to get into that meditative state. And in fact, I think that seated silent meditation, that typical vision that we have of what meditation is, can be kind of detrimental to people. People with neurodivergent brains, for example, people with a lot of anxiety, people who have a history of dissociation, and people who are just beginning on their meditating journey. Because there's such an emphasis, it's a very masculine practice, I think, to sit in silence, in stillness, and to try to clear your mind. Of course, there is an element here that I think needs to be questioned in its very basis, and that's the idea that we have to clear our minds when we are meditating. And I don't think that that is the case at all. Like, that is one of those big toxic myths that's been perpetuated about meditation, is that you're aiming to clear your mind. You're not. You're aiming to find space between your thoughts, space between you and your thoughts, a way to kind of see that your thoughts are this basically constant reel of bam, bam, this, that, something I did 6 years ago. What am I going to do 6 years from now? What did that person say to me? What did I say to them? Like, all of this stuff, all of this stories, all of this noise that we have in our brains that's just on constant go, go, go. What the Buddhists call the monkey mind. That is something that exists within all of us because we're humans. And it's something that with a little bit of practice, we can just take a step back from and see that our thoughts are not ourselves. They're something that are kind of happening to us, in us, around us, but they are not in and of themselves us. And by extension, they are not in and of themselves true. And really, I think that gets to the meat of what meditation is. It's finding a way to be able to recognize that the thoughts that are happening in your head are not in and of themselves truth. And that we can live our lives from a place of deeper truth that's not as reactive and ping-pongy as our thoughts are inevitably going to be. Especially if you have a neurodivergent mind, or a squiggly brain, as Michelle at Holisticism likes to say, which I really like that terminology, a squiggly brain, because it's nonlinear and it goes all over the place. And when someone with a squiggly brain sits down and tries to just like do this very linear, very masculine energy kind of practice, it's inevitably going to lead to frustration and pretty quickly, in most cases, just quitting altogether. Before we get into the how of meditation, though, I want to talk a bit about the benefits of meditation, both from a scientific and from a witchy standpoint. So scientifically, you can go on the internet and type in scientific studies about meditation, and you'll come up with just so much information. There have been lots and lots of studies done with adults, with children, with the elderly, with people with chronic disease, people with anxiety, people with ADHD, just across the board. It's been shown that a regular meditation practice can improve someone's health and well-being in a categorical way, a measurable way, across a lot of different criteria. So it can reduce anxiety, it can reduce the amount of cortisol in the body. Cortisol is the stress chemical that's released when we are in either chronic or acute stress. Meditation can also lower blood pressure. It can increase memory retention in people who have degenerative brain conditions. It can improve our sleep quality. It improves how we interact with other people on an interpersonal level. There's lots more benefits. Again, you can research this. More interesting to me in relation to this channel specifically is the magic benefits. I've said this before, I'll say this again. To me, meditation is at the basis of any strong magical practice, any witchcraft practice. Meditation forms the firmament upon which everything else is built and everything else can grow. Why? Because meditation increases your focus. And when your focus is like pulled in, it's strong, you've got it right there, that's the channel through which your energy is going to flow into your spell work, into your magic, into your prayers. When our focus is just like all over the place, we've got all these different thoughts that are asking for our attention and then we're giving it because we're in that reactive place, then our focus is all over here and not a whole lot is going to be able to get through the channel that you're building with your spells and with your magic. So when we've got a really strong meditation practice, it allows us to get into that place much easier when we're actually like in a circle casting a spell. Another huge benefit of meditation to your magic practice is that it allows for a more open channel and a more open space for you to receive messages from spirit or any of the deities that you're working with. So imagine the difference between when you're out shopping and maybe you have a kid or someone else's kids are around and there's yelling or there's, just a lot of input happening. This is what our minds are normally like. There's a lot of input happening. But when we get to a meditative state and when we get really familiar with that meditative state, then we can access it even when we're out at the grocery store or in a highly stimulated environment. And it's like if you make a guest room up, then it's a lot easier for you to have guests. If you create a space in your mind and in your practice and in your body for deity to show up, there's a lot more opportunity for deity to show up. They feel more welcome. The door is open, so to speak. Meditation also increases our level of mindfulness, which again, this is our ability to distance ourselves from our thoughts, to recognize that your thoughts are not you. And when we do that, we increase our levels of self-awareness. When we increase our levels of self-awareness, we can see our old patterns, we can see our old traumas, we can see our old bondage. When we see the bondage that we've kept ourselves in because of these old thought patterns, because of these old stories, because of this old trauma, then we can start to heal those. And as we heal those patterns, we become stronger, we become more integrated, we become more powerful in the magic that we do and in just the way that we live our lives. We become more whole. Lastly, getting into a meditative state allows us to enter into trance or alpha states, which are states of mind that are kind of like between our conscious mind and being fully unconscious or being like asleep. It's this place where we are still aware of our surroundings. We're still aware of what we're doing. We're still aware of what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, what we're saying. And we have certain levels of our guard gone. So we are able to more readily access something that's on the other side of the veil. And again, this is a really powerful place to do your magic from, a really powerful place to act from, a really powerful place to get messages. So how can we explore meditation in a way that is more integrative, that is more holistic, that is more gentle? I'm glad you asked. There are so many options. I'm only going to go through a few of them here because I don't want to make this video too long. I actually recorded this video yesterday and it ended up being 40 minutes and I was like, let's try again. First, very easily, there's guided meditation, and I have a few of them that I've published on this channel, so you can go check those out. I'll link at least one of them at the end of this video. Guided meditation is fantastic, and I think that there's some stigma around it. Like, if you're doing guided meditation, that's not really meditation. I think that's bullshit. I think the guided meditation is a great place for anyone who's beginning to meditate to start, because it gives your brain something to focus on. In silent seated meditation, you'll focus on your breath, but it's very easy to lose track of that, especially when you're just getting used to getting into a meditative state. With guided meditation, you have something that will continue to draw you back to the focus at hand. And there's such a wide variety of guided meditations available out there. You can find a meditation for any particular aspect of your life that you are trying to navigate. There's also guided meditations that can take you on journeys with particular deities. It's through guided meditation that I first met Michael, Lilith, and Hecate. Without those meditations, I would not be in the position that I am today. But if you're the kind of person who really struggles with sitting still for any kind of meditation, or lying down too, because you don't have to sit to meditate. You can lie down, you can put your legs up the wall. But if those things don't resonate with your body and what your body wants to do, I've got something beautiful for you. Movement meditation. Movement meditation goes back ages. People have been utilizing movement meditation for thousands of years. One aspect that comes to mind really quickly, maybe it's because I'm in England right now, is labyrinths. You can see these ancient labyrinths that monks and druids and other people, they would walk along this particular path, praying or just in contemplation, focusing on each step to get to the middle and then to come back out again to the outside. That's just one example of walking meditation. You don't need a labyrinth in order to engage with walking meditation. Even just walking through a park, I keep looking outside because it's such a beautiful day. Even just walking through a park and being very aware of like how your feet feel when they hit the ground, the way that the air feels on your skin, what smells you can sense, what things you can see, what you can hear, coming fully into your body in this way, it will create that distance between you and your thoughts just automatically because you're embodied. Whereas when we're caught up in our thoughts, we're all up here. I know people who use mountain biking as a movement meditation, who use cross-country skiing as a movement meditation. There's lots of different ways to access this state. What you're looking for is when you find something that helps your brain get a little quieter, that just turns down that volume a little bit and makes some space between you and the thoughts. Another way to do this is through dancing meditation. I prefer to, again, drop into the body. So if you're doing a dancing meditation, you would focus on exactly how your body feels as you're moving with the music. Speaking of music, there's also music meditation that you can access. There are different ways that you can approach this, of course. There are as many ways to meditate. There are more ways to meditate, I would say, than there are people who could meditate. So with music meditation, what I would recommend at the base level is to choose music that does not have any words or is sung in a language that you don't understand, because it can be very easy for our brains to hear the words and then start attaching value judgments to them and then start just kind of racing and going off. Using mantras or chants in another language can be really powerful because they have that element of God language in it. When you're repeating the names of the divine or repeating a dedication to a particular deity, that can access essentially like this cord of energy that's been created by repetition. I can see it in my head. So it's like we've had, for example, if you're gonna work with the Ganesha mantra, millions of people, billions of people, for thousands of years have been saying these same words, using these same vocal intonations in order to pray, in order to worship, and that creates a larger resonance that's been built across time. It's like weaving a web, and the web has been woven so thickly at this point that you can access it just by listening to it. Another way to go about this is to work with binaural beats, which I'm particularly fond of. Binaural beats will shift the beat across each headphone. You have to wear headphones for it to work. And in doing that, that helps to regulate the nervous system, and it also helps to start bridging the gap between the left and the right side of the brain and getting them to talk to each other more fluently. So as you can see, meditation encompasses a wide range of practices, and it's not limited to just sitting in silence trying to clear your brain. I hope that this video showed you at least one pathway that sounds appealing, sounds like something you'd want to investigate, because I do heartily believe that everyone can benefit from meditation, depending on which kind they're utilizing in their life. Everyone needs a space in order to get some distance from themselves and their busy thoughts, because those busy thoughts can be just so overwhelming and take up so much energy and so much space in our lives that they really don't need to. And when we're this close to all of the thoughts in our heads, it can be very hard to actually see clearly and make decisions based on our values and decisions based in integrity of self. And when we are making decisions based from that place, from a place of groundedness and a place of spaciousness, we make better decisions. We make braver decisions. We make decisions that are more filled with love and possibility and opportunity for ourselves and for the people around us. So I recommend you start small, 1 minute a day, 10 minutes a day, The scientific research says that 10 minutes is a good baseline to actually like start reaping those benefits that I mentioned earlier. But start where you are. Start small, and it's much better to do a regular short practice every day than it is to do like an hour once a week. Try to incorporate it into your day, stacked on top of some other habit. Maybe before you brush your teeth. Just find something that you do every day and put a 5 or 10 minute buffer around that thing that you can use to meditate in. And I recommend exploring these different types of meditation to see what actually fits with you. Don't give up if one thing doesn't work. And also, if you try one thing and you kind of like it but kind of don't give up on that one thing either. Do try to give whatever thing that you try to give it a fair shake. Do it for a week or 2 weeks or an enough period of time that your discomfort around trying something new can start to drop away, because that's going to happen. Your brain is going to say, we don't need this, we don't want this is horrible, what are you doing? Stop doing right now. That's natural. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. If you are interested in working with me one-on-one, check out the link below or go to squeakiescauldron.com/coaching. And next week, I'm going to be doing a video on Hecate's epithets, particularly epithets that are great for when we're in a rage-inducing time, kind of like we are now. These epithets, or different names for Hecate, are going to be particularly focused on ways that she can show up to support the oppressed and to support the angry. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Moon Pages. It's a bi-monthly newsletter where I release custom tarot spreads, rituals for the new and full moons, and lots of other good stuff. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and take care of yourselves. And as always, my lovelies, use your voice.